Every 4 years we gather around to watch a bunch of sports that we don't really care about. And I want to know, how do they work? Of the 32 Olympic sports, at least 10 are based on a judging system. That subjectiveness has really made me wonder, what goes into scoring? Gymnastics is and always has been a fan favourite sport. However, it's one of the more confusing ones to understand.
Each skill has a value. So for example, a very basic skill is worth 0.1, which is an A, so they call it an A, and then it goes up by 0.1 like the alphabet. So you could be, gaining a whole mark on a skill if you get up to a letter J skill, which is a really extremely difficult skill. So they'll calculate your difficulty score, and then your execution judges will judge your execution out of a 10, so your pointed toes, your bent legs and things like that, gets all taken off 10, and then they add those two scores together and that's like the total score.
Okay, so now we understand how you get a score flipping across the floor. But what about if you're flipping through the air?
So when you're a diver, it starts at 0, and then you perform your dive on the board, and there'll be a panel of about 7 judges, and they'll score your dive. When they dive, the judges are looking at the execution and the height. So when you're coming off the board, if the dive is getting enough height, and then they look at the actual dive, if they've performed what they're supposed to, and the type of technique they're doing, and whether they're strong enough. And then they look at the entry, if there's, they've pointed their toes, feet are together, and obviously whether there's too much splash or not.